Hello, today I'd like to show off my collection of English coins and one early American one. The first one up is my Anglo-Saxon Styka from Northumbria. It was minted under the Bishop Vigman, Archbishop of York, which was a very big title back then. The Archbishop of York was a very respected clergy member of the Roman Catholic Church, and York was a very big Christian pilgrimage city in England. He reigned from 837 AD to 850 AD. Next up is my farthing. Let me see if I can pick it up here. Farthing of Edward I. This was the first farthing minted as just its own coin. It's about my smallest English coin I have, slightly smaller than my Styka. And I think all of us know about Edward I. He was known for being pretty warmongering with the Scots and all that. But he's pretty interesting to collect, and having a farthing is a bit more interesting than just having one of his pennies, since everybody else is minting pennies. Next up is my Richard I, or Richard the Lionheart halfpenny. Now, back then, when you wanted to make change, all the way up until Edward I, actually, when he reformed English coinage to make denominations as their own coins, you had the English penny as a base, and you could chop it all the way up into fourths, a fourth being a farthing, and this is a halfpenny. And this is actually his dad, Henry II's portrait, and his name on here, but the stylization's a bit different, so that shows it was actually minted under Richard I. Next up is a George I halfpenny from 1720 or 1721. The date's kind of worn. I don't know how good the footage is, but yeah. He was pretty interesting, the first monarch of the House of Hanover. Next up is my George II halfpenny. This one's from 1748. It's also pretty worn, but there you go. And nextly is my George III penny, or halfpenny. This one's from 1772. So, America was still under English rule at this time and all that, but his stylization changed quite a few times in his life. You could see him appear a bit more thinner in his earlier coinage, and different facial features and stuff like that, sort of similar to Elizabeth II and how her facial features have changed in her coins. And lastly is my one of my favorite coins is a copy of an English penny made in Connecticut in 1787. These were just locally minted, very crudely. You can't even really make out the date, it's so worn, but yeah, you can actually tell by the hand. It's really thin. It's called the skeleton hand one. It's a relatively rare variety, and those were all made in 1787. These had pretty crude dies and all this and that, but they're usually decently cheap and a pretty good early example of American coinage. Yeah, and that's all for today.